Welcome to Pranayama class number 13 of the spring series. This is our last Pranayama class, and so we're going to do something fun. I think it's fun. I'm going to help you to understand first a little more about how breath can be used to change your body, and I want to bring awareness to your body and breath throughout the day. Now, my reason for doing this is because the breath is really the language of the body in some ways. It tries to translate and let you know what's going on. And if you think about it, when we're newborns, we are pretty fluent in the language of our bodies. When they're hungry, they want to eat. They expect to eat when they're immediately hungry. Everything happens as body wants it to happen. But social conditioning begins to tell us that spontaneity is not always appropriate in social situations. That's useful because we're mammals and we have to be social. We absolutely have to be social in order to survive and thrive. But some of that social conditioning is not useful, and it's not going to make life better for you or the people around you. And some of that comes from the conditioning we learn as children. For example, I remember as a child, and I remember my children doing this too, coming in a half hour before dinner and telling me they were hungry. Well, I didn't have anything to give them in terms of dinner, so what I told my kids was they could have a finger of peanut butter. Please let your infection control ideas out the window. That's what they did. They stuck their finger in the peanut butter jar and got one finger of peanut butter. And that works. They get a little fat, a little protein, a little sugar, and they can probably last a half hour. But my mom would say, you know what time dinner is. There was no finger of peanut butter. And when a child is hungry and that hunger is not satisfied, more emotions occur because emotions are the body's messengers. And the message you might get from being hungry and unsatisfied is to be sad or maybe angry. For me, it was angry. And I think hangry became my experience of nervous system irritability that until I broke it down in my body, I experienced hangry as hungry. I didn't accept hungry as just a message. Oh, it's time to eat. No, I felt an irritability in my body when I would feel hungry because of my early experiences. But these early experiences and of social conditioning can be unlearned when they're not effective for you and your body. And until you do learn what behaviors and habits you have accumulated that really don't serve you or even the people around you, you're doing harm to yourself. It's a kind of self-oppression. And you can begin to free yourself from self-oppression. You're really the only one who can. And your life will begin to gradually change. So I want you to become more fluent in the language of your breath so that you will notice minor irritability and address it, solve the problem while you've still got enough prefrontal cortex activity before you jump into sympathetic mode. You can make a lot more choices and have a lot more agency if you're breath aware. And so I'm going to take you through a practice that I use sometimes at the end of the asana or at the beginning of meditation. It's the breath awareness and relaxation practice that teaches you how you can use breath to soothe body, and then we'll flip to a mode of measuring breath or noticing breath when you feel a little bit irritable throughout your day. You'll notice the breath you present at various times during your day. So let's begin. I want you to find a good seat, either on the front of your chair, on your sits bones, knees and feet hip-width apart, knees over heels. You can pull your heels a little toward your chair. Feel that pelvic tilt that allows you to stack up your spine in the most efficient and effective way for breathing. If that's not comfortable for you for a duration of 10 to 20 minutes, maybe you need to lean back in your chair. Maybe you need to use a recliner with the feet up, or maybe you need to lie down. The most comfortable position is important. And you may also begin to find that you become stronger through asana. We're developing a good seat, remember, so that maybe you lean back in the chair now, or you do it for 5 minutes and then you need to lean back in the chair for the rest of your practice. All of these possibilities can work. And if you have any questions about that, I hope you'll make some comments and offer some good questions on the website or on social. So you've got your good seat, your good position. Take a long, gentle inhale that makes you a little taller. And on exhale, close eyes or leave them at slits, depending upon what's most comfortable for you. Bring your attention to the breath in your nose. And on exhale, soften jaw. Let your cheeks be limp, your forehead smooth. Let your gaze behind closed lids be soft and vague so that the little muscles around your eyes slow down. Bring your attention to the breath in your throat. And on exhale, soften the space between ears and shoulders. Let your neck be long and soft. Your shoulder blades melt down a bit. Maybe your chin comes up a little. Whatever's most comfortable. Bring your attention to the breath in your chest. And on exhale, soften that connection between shoulders and arms so that your arms can be completely limp, resting in your lap or alongside your body. Bring your attention to the breath in your belly. And on exhale, soften that connection between hips and legs. There's a freeing feeling in the hips there where it's almost as though your whole spine is suspended on your pelvic floor, just climbing up like a perfect Jenga tower. And then come into that little space between breastbone and navel and watch your diaphragm go up and down. Watch the breath that your body wants right now. Don't try to control it, almost as though you were a spectator to your own breath. Just watch. And then count your inhale. Build your exhale one higher. And continue to do that until you've reached an inhale that's your max for today. And then build your exhale to twice your inhale. Pause the audio at this point and continue with that practice for 10 to 12 repetitions. So notice how that feels. Notice particularly, was it easier to get up to your usual inhale or maybe a little bit bigger inhale? after doing that relaxation process? Could you actually feel in your body how the exhale creates a space for softening the body and releasing tension? That practice is very useful when you have pain, because pain tends to radiate out from the actual source. And as you soften the area that's tender, you'll begin to shrink the area that feels painful. It's not going to take away, a broken bone or, a cut or anything. It's not going to take away the source of the pain. It's not even in a way hypnotizing you into imagining it's not there. It's just reducing the pain to, it almost takes away the fear of pain and makes just the pain itself present. And I find that useful. So you can use those soothing techniques at any time to reset your nervous system. And I've given you that practice, the resets, to soften the whole face and then soften the space between ears. Essentially, you're softening your shoulders and letting your neck be soft. And then you're softening your shoulder-arm connection, softening your hip and leg connection. All of those softenings begin to take you into a more parasympathetic state where you're more able to watch your diaphragm without distraction. So if you're somewhere and become irritable, you can use those practices if there's a safe space in which to execute them. And I'm teaching you this because my challenge to you for the days to come is to pick a day when maybe your day off and set your alarm for a number of minutes between 50 and 100. For some reason, I picked 77. I suggest picking a very random odd number. Has to be an odd number. And then you set that on your phone so that every 77 minutes, which of course is an hour and 17 minutes, every 77 minutes when you hear that little alarm go off, you're just going to take a minute to notice your breath. And as you notice your breath, you'll also notice the tension in your body. But you know what to do about that now. If your breath is quick and shallow and you're feeling tension, you know how to make it longer. You know how to use breath to soften it down, to smooth out your body and soothe your nervous system. But to do that 4 or 5 times in the course of a day, you'll begin to notice how the stimuli that you routinely find in your environment is affecting your breath. We're moving towards the ability, the skill set to keep awareness of your breath almost on the back burner all the time as you go through your day, because it is the first warning system for the body needs you to do something different. The nervous system is feeling a little irritable. And the more sensitive you are to your own breath changes, the more quickly you can use your agency to stop oppressing yourself and maybe make some changes to the stimuli in your world. Maybe you need to work in a quieter environment. Maybe you need to get outside more and spend less time inside. I recognize that a lot of these choices involve privilege, but in a microscopic way, I think anyone can change some of the stimuli in their environment. I'm especially eager to hear questions and comments about your somatic, your body experience of this practice. Please leave any questions or comments on the website or on social or under this audio. Thank you.